The key to lasting happiness. This is today's topic here on the channel. And first things first, my name is Lydia. I'm a life and mindset coach for successful entrepreneurs and C-suite leaders. And here on the channel, I talk about all things conscious creation, manifestation, mindset, business growth, business strategy, all the goodness. Thank you so much for subscribing, for your comments, for your likes, for being on the journey here with me. I highly, highly appreciate it. And if you're looking for more coaching, more in-depth coaching, please go to the description. You'll find everything there. We are still on pre-sale for the amazing, amazing mastermind that's starting in October, the Expansion Mastermind. The name says it all. And the Mindset Tribe. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. Either put your questions in the comments or send me an email or reach me on the different social media platforms. Okay, today's topic. I have 3 points again today for you. I want to summarize them first. I want to give them to you first, and then I want to go in depth into each one of them, so to say. So we are talking about the key to lasting happiness. We are talking about happiness because I see a lot of my clients, but also like recently people talking about this online, like they are successful, they have all the success, the money, like they have everything. And then they say like, hey, I really fell down into a slump. Like I couldn't get out. I'm telling you, I'm being vulnerable here. I'm sharing what's going on. I really had a few bad months. So mental health is a big topic. Like depression, all of these things are a big topic. And the question is, you are super successful. What else can you do to get to the place that actually we all want more than anything else? To lasting happiness and fulfillment. Because no money, no relationship, no beautiful surroundings, nothing really is worth it if you don't feel like it from the inside. And this is today's topic here. And I have a lot of experience with that. I have gone through long phases of depression from my family. Like there is a disposition for all of these things. And I caught a huge part of that as well. And I learned how to transform that. For a long time, as I said, I was living a beautiful life on the outside, but I didn't feel like it at all. I was, going down into the dark places, basically on a daily basis. And no one could even tell because you can't see it on people. Like you can look beautiful and healthy and happy, but not feel like it. So I was a beautiful example of that, or a powerful example of that. And I transformed that. So what happened is I shifted states. I am not in a state of depression anymore. I'm in a state of happiness and fulfillment, which does not mean that you cannot have days where you feel a little bit stressed or not happy or something. So it's really important when we talk about the key to lasting happiness, that there is a difference between the state you're in and the experiences of like fleeting emotions from like day-to-day time, so to say. But first of all, what I wanted to tell you, I went through decades of depression and unfulfillment and unhappiness, and I changed it all. So I can talk about it because I have been there, I have gone through that, and I help my clients with that. And the nice thing is you don't have to give up your success for that. It's not that you can either be happy or successful, which is a big limiting belief many people have. And this is why they either shy away from success or from happiness, because they feel they have to give up the other one. And it's not true. You can have it all. I help my clients to get there. So the 3 points that I wanted to mention, the first one is what I just talked about, the state. You have to build a foundation of happiness, meaning you have to shift into a state of happiness. That still can mean that you have days where you don't feel happy. However, your general state is one of happiness. So the first one is build the foundation, and I will help you do that. Like I will explain how to do that. So the foundation is key. You have to shift your state away from the depression and unhappiness to a state of fulfillment and happiness. And then you can still experience unhappy days, of course. However, your general state is happiness and fulfillment. Then the next one is, if there are like these moments where you don't feel fulfilled and unhappy, or you don't feel happy. But it's not such a big thing. The one thing I teach when it comes to that, so it's not like a whole blown depressive episode or something, it's more like, oh, I really feel not fulfilled today or this week, something like that. Then I teach basically non-resistance. I called it like, basically treat these emotions or treat these fleeting moments as fleeting moments. Know that this too shall pass, and treat it almost like a bully, like, hey, don't give in to the story. Don't like start talking back to the bully like, I should be happy. Why am I not happy? What's going on? No, just say like, okay, whatever. This is just an episode today. It's happening. It's fine. And then again, remember who you truly are, coming from a place of happiness and fulfillment. So that's the second one. It's non-resistance against these fleeting moments in life where you don't feel happy and fulfilled. And then the third one, when you have bigger unhappy moments and depressed moments, and you're doing number one, you're building the foundation, but then you have like really dark moments that come back. I teach you something counterintuitive to basically what the people out there say. They say, go out, seek other people, distract yourself, connect with other people, connection and all of that. And I tell you, no, like you can do this as well. However, the most important piece actually is to go inward, to again shift your state. And very often these distractions of like, hey, I'm just going to talk to other people, I'm going to go on a nice trip, I'm going to do this and that, I'm going to distract myself. It keeps you in the same state. So you'll have a short moment of interaction with someone where you're like being happy and fulfilled, but you go back to where you were, and it's almost like covering up the issue at hand. So this is not what I recommend. For me, it's easier to shift my state again when I really distract from the outside world and I really go inside. I remember the truth of who I am. I shift, I do what is necessary, I give myself what I need, and so on and so on. So instead of going outside and distracting yourself and like looking for connection in the outside, go inward. So if there are like big issues in your life, like big phases happening, I teach go inward, shift states. And now I want to go a little bit deeper into each one of these points. Let's start with the foundation of basically getting or building an identity of happiness and fulfillment. Building the identity of I am a happy person. I am a fulfilled person. So when I look back to me, my identity was whatever happened in my life, I'm still not fulfilled. I might be fulfilled quickly, and this is why people run after achievement, like from achievement to the next achievement, because they get this short dopamine hit or this short hit of like, ooh, fulfillment, achievement, happiness. But the thing is, it doesn't last because it doesn't come from an internal place of identity of happiness. It comes from a place, I am needing the outside things to feel happy. So I'm actually lacking that. So if you see that you usually get happy and fulfilled by things that happen in your external reality, that's a good sign that you're not it on the internal or on the internal. You're actually needing your external reality to feel happy. And these are also so amazing, like such amazing reminders for myself. So I just love listening to what I'm talking right now, because I still have moments where, like I forget all these things. And this is why we need coaches. This is why we need support, in my eyes, because people will help you to remind you of your truth. And then you can go back inward and say like, oh yeah, this is my identity. My identity is one of happiness and fulfillment. This is where I'm coming from. I am coming from abundance, not from lack. So if you're a person who constantly seeks fulfillment in your outside reality through achievement and success in business, through relationships, through connection, through luxury stuff around you and cars and watches and whatever, if this is you, there might be a big thing going on inward that you don't feel like it, that you need these things to feel fulfilled because you don't feel fulfilled from the inside. And then this first point is really for you to build an identity of fulfillment and happiness, so that no matter the circumstances, no matter what happens, you will just feel fulfilled and happy and at peace. And I can tell you, this is a feeling that I would trade nothing for. It's one of the most amazing things you can experience. Feelings of deep inner peace, trust, happiness, fulfillment, love from the inside. It's basically enlightenment. It's where you want to live most of your time, because there is no better feeling, so to say. So when you build this identity, whatever happens in your outside reality, you will look at things differently, you will experience them differently. So if you're a person who still needs the outside to feel short-term fulfillment and then you crash again, I would build a foundation. I would first of all understand what I'm saying here, really listen closely. It's an identity shift and it's a choice you can make every second of your life. Most people think they need pills and they need whatever. These are also just external factors. And by the way, I'm not a doctor. I have it all written down. What I say here is my personal opinion from my own experience and the experience from my loved ones around and from all my many clients. The shift has to happen inside, and it's a choice, and it can happen in an instant. It actually can only happen right now. You can only make that choice now. You cannot make it in the future. You can only make it now and say I'm shifting into the person who is fulfilled. I am shifting into a state, an identity of fulfillment and happiness. And what I teach is repetition. So if you come from a place of the opposite, one is the understanding. So as I said, listen closely. One is the understanding, this is how it works, getting your logical mind on board. And then the other thing is to familiarize yourself with this new state. And this can happen through saturation of your mind via affirmations, via visualizations, via inner self-talk, via experiences where you really go into the feeling. So the felt experience, not just the visual experience, not just the images, the visualization, but actually the felt experience when you close your eyes and you really go into the experience. All these things. And I usually teach to do blocks. For example, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening. I'm a person who does a lot of self-talk, so for me, affirmations and feeling into the affirmations works wonders. People are very visual. Those people I tell go into, sorry, my nose is itchy, go into visualization. And people are very kinesthetic, as I said, I am as well. So I talk to myself, I repeat affirmations, and I feel into them. So the feeling people out there, go into the felt experience. And then do it for a 10-minute block, focused time, focus on that. Use the time when you're perhaps zoning out a little bit, for example, in the morning when you wake up, or in the evening before you go to sleep, or when you're driving in the car. It's a perfect time for me to work on my manifestations, because I'm just zoning out, and I can be in the moment and so on. So this is something and I can't go more in depth because we're already at 13 minutes and I want to talk about the other 2 points as well. But build a foundation, saturate your mind with a new state of being. And actually I overcame decades of, it sounds almost silly and simple, I overcame decades of depression with the simple affirmation, I am happy and fulfilled. I feel happy and fulfilled. Depending on what was more important, I needed to feel it or I needed to be it. This is what I chose. And sometimes I just did both of them. And I also used stable, safe, and secure within myself, because they almost go hand in hand. The more confident and stable inside you feel, the more you can almost lean into happiness and fulfillment. If it's a safe place for you to be, the easier it is, so to say. So it took me 3 months of constantly reminding myself. So it's not the technique that creates it for you. It's basically the reminder and the going back into that state again and again. that shifts everything for you. And it helps my clients so much. And as I said, it changed everything for me. Of course, I did a few more things. I worked on my whole self. It wasn't just like, hey, one simple phrase. I worked on my whole self. I went into my childhood. I looked for what I was constantly looking for. I started to give myself that instead of needing it to happen from the outside. I understood what was going on, like why I had these patterns. So that was important for me as a logical, analytical person to understand where my patterning came from and reframe a lot of these things, even do a little bit of revision, revising certain memories, changing them, and understanding them from a logical perspective, that these connections that I had made, so that I actually felt unhappy and unsatisfied and nothing ever worked for me, were wrong connections that I had made. So, this is what I mean. I had to reframe certain things. So for example, I had, it's not even a real example, but perhaps someone treated me a certain way when I was a child, and this I made mean I'm not good enough, I'm not chosen, I'm not the one, or whatever. And then this became almost like a mantra that fed my unhappiness and my unfulfillment, because everything that happened, I would see with that perspective. So I actually went back to situations like that and looked at them from like a logical perspective. And I said, like, this actually didn't mean it. I made it mean because I had no other choice as a child, but I can see it differently now. So I reframed a lot of things that were going on, and I happily help you with that. If you work with me in either the mastermind or one-to-one, because very often we don't even see the connections. We don't even understand like what is going on. Why are we feeling like that? We don't know what the original, like the root cause is. And I'm a detective. I'm like a psychological detective, and I love finding these things with you, as I do for myself and also with my coaches for myself. So, like also taking care of that, why would I always choose certain scenarios, certain atmospheres? Why would I create certain atmospheres again and again? Because the feeling of unhappiness and despair and frustration and depression was a feeling I was comfortable with, was one that I had known from before, from my childhood. So I had to uncover where it came from, change it at the root, and with the affirmations and the visualizations and feeling into certain things, I then rewired myself to a state and identity of happiness and fulfillment no matter what, instead of depression and unhappiness. So that's the first one. It's really working on the foundation. And this is key. And this is what so many people don't do. And it's not just talking about what went wrong and like, oh, poor you as a child. No, you actually have to change these things. So this is why just therapy, where you talk about all that stuff, it needs to go further. This is what I want to say. Yes, you can look at where it came from, but if you just look at where it came from without reframing things, without understanding like how to now shift it in the now moment, it doesn't serve you at all. Or other people, they just work on the outside fulfillment. They do all the, I don't know, like all the things. I did it all, like cold plunges, meditation, yada, 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 all of that. But if you don't change your state, you can do 10 years of that and you will still not feel lasting happiness, freedom, satisfaction, because you're doing it all from a state of not having. So you'll have the quick hit, perhaps even a day or a week, sometimes it lasts, but then you crash back into your old identity and it's all gone. So these short-term fixes don't help. You have to shift your whole identity, your whole state, and this is the foundational work. So the next one was non-resistant. So you're doing now the foundational work, super important. And then you'll have these days where you know, the fleeting emotions, where you're just not super fulfilled and happy. Something's happening, something didn't work out, a circumstance showed up, all of that. And in this moment, what I do is I don't feed the troll, don't feed the bully, don't give energy to the bully. Go into a state of non-resistance. Go back to the knowing of your truth of fulfillment and having fulfillment and having happiness, and understanding that what you're experiencing right now is not you, it's not your truth, just a fleeting emotion. You can check what thoughts are fueling those emotions in the moment. Do you need an identity shift, or do you just need to let the emotions in the moment like be, somatic movement, all of that, just be non-resistant to what is and know that this too shall pass. If I have a day of like that, or perhaps just 1 or 2 hours, I know, like what happens for me is I know I am just not resistant against it. And now I know then comes a time where everything quiets down and I almost feel like in a state where nothing is moving. Like all of a sudden I don't even get like notifications anymore. Like everything goes silent. In the beginning I would freak out, and now I know the shift is happening. And I just live through that. I just don't put resistance against whatever is. I just am. I remind myself of the truth. I don't feed anything that's happening with the energy of fear or anxiety or stress or unhappiness. I just am in almost like a neutral space. I'm floating around in this neutral space, and what happens afterwards is that there is a massive breakthrough where then everything gets catapulted in my physical reality to the next level. So it's almost like I'm not resistant against the fleeting moments of unhappiness or whatever. Then there is a moment of stillness, like the eye of the storm or something, and then bam comes the expansion. So I actually use these moments now. They are not necessarily the nicest place to be in, because of course I prefer like utter amazing feelings every moment. However, now I know I don't put resistance against them anymore. I just stay in a calm, neutral space, and I know it's almost like the pulling back before massive expansion. So the pulling back can feel a bit stretchy, but it pulls you further so much. So it's actually an amazing experience when you look from a bigger perspective. The third one, if you have bigger episodes of unhappiness and almost like depressive episodes and like really going down into like a spiral, as I said before, in these moments the inner work is even more important. So for me in these moments, or not for me, I don't experience that anymore. However, when I used to experience that, or when my clients experience that, it's really a reminder to work on your foundation again and work on shifting your state. So when you're going downward, when you're spiraling downward, really ask yourself, what identity am I coming from at the moment? What is happening here? And you very quickly will see that you're coming from the identity of not having. You're coming from the identity nothing is working. You're coming from the identity of unhappiness and dissatisfaction and non-fulfillment. So in these moments, no, it's not about going out there and distracting yourself. You know, in these moments, it's about going inward, reminding yourself of the truth, choosing anew, going back into the identity of fulfillment, and making choices from that level. So how would the person show up who is utterly fulfilled and has it all, is in a state of happiness? What would I do from that place? And in these moments, I also feel it's very important to get support from the right people. This is why I say it's not just about connection to go out to, like your normal peers or something. I feel in these moments, it is utterly important to go to people who help you understand the shift state experience, who understand it's about identity shifts now. It's not about distraction here, going on a nice trip, going out, having a beer, having a chat. It's not just about a chat. In that moment, it's about being or connecting with people who understand what I'm talking about right now, who can help you see the bigger picture, who can help you to remind you of the truth, who can help you to remind you of shifting into a different identity. So don't go to the people that come from the past. Don't go to the people who keep you in your old programming. Go to the people who help you into the new programming. So if something like that, like just a little bit happens, I have my own period, like I have my coaches now who teach on that level that I'm teaching. I have almost like manifestation mindset buddies who know all that stuff that I talk about. And these are the people I go to, that they can remind me of who I am, because they give different advice. If you go to people who have no idea about what I'm talking about, you will get advice of like, oh, everything will get better. But no, things don't get better if you don't shift your state. or who will just say like, oh, poor you, but that's not you, it's not you. Your poor you doesn't help you. You have to understand your power, you have to understand your real truth, and you need someone who points you to that. And usually if you go back to the place where you came from, this is the energy of the old. So you will be drawn even further into your old state. So I highly recommend to either do the work by yourself and have just support like, online, or go to people who are talking about that stuff that I'm teaching you here right now, who can help you with that. So in these moments, it's really about deeper inner work, and it's not about distraction. It's not about quick fixes and let's just connect with people and everything will get better. Because if you connect with other people from a state of unfulfillment and a state of deep unhappiness, it will still keep you there, and it might even be counterproductive and remind you of that even more, because now you're connecting with people and you're still feeling the same way. So that is almost like, oh my God, there seriously is something wrong with me, like I can't go on like that. So yeah, instead of distraction, go inward, shift your state, and go back to the first one, to building the foundation. I gave you a few pointers how to do that. It's utterly important. And when you follow these 3 steps, these different steps, depending on what is happening throughout your day, you can definitely overcome this. You can step into a deep state of fulfillment and happiness, no matter your circumstances. Because it's not your circumstances that put you in a state, it's you. It's your state, and from that state you're experiencing whatever is happening with a certain perspective. So the unhappy person will experience everything around her in an unhappy version. A happy person will experience the very same things that are happening to the unhappy person, and feel happy and fulfilled with them. It's crazy. It's your state, it's not your experiences, it's not your circumstances. And the good news here is, because it's not your circumstances, you have all the power to change your state. You can choose anew every single moment of your life. Okay, if you're interested in further support here, as I said, stepping and identity shifting really works beautifully if you're supported by a group of like-minded people and you find these peers in my groups. So join the Mindset Tribe or the Expansion Mastermind to have really an uplifting group of people who are working and living from this new state of being that I'm talking about. It's a very different experience to any other normal business masterminds out there, because they just don't have this knowledge and they don't live from this knowledge. Okay, thank you so much for watching, for commenting, for your likes, for being on the journey with me, and until the next video.